Hello everyone. Welcome to the first lecture for the course Refrigeration and Air Conditioning. Myself Sumit Bardia, Assistant Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, Sharad Institute of Technology, College of Engineering, Etro. Today we will start with the course introduction. Before starting the syllabus, first we need to understand the course structure, course objectives, course outcomes and grading. Course objectives. Objectives are categorized according to the chapter description. First objective is to understand the basic principles of refrigeration and air conditioning. In that, we must be cleared with basics of thermodynamics in order to understand the further lectures. Second objective is to analyze vapor compression reference system and also vapor absorption refrigeration system. Here we need to study various types of refrigeration systems and its performance. Third objective is to study the psychrometric properties of air and utilize the principle of psychrometry in the design of air conditioning equipment. Psychrometry deals with the study of moist air, which is the main factor which greatly affects the human comfort. Last objective is to apply this knowledge for the design of refrigeration and air conditioning equipments. Ultimately, designing the application of refrigeration and air conditioning can have exposure to practical knowledge. Next slide is about course outcomes. After completing the course, students will able to understand the principles and remember the applications of refrigeration systems. Second outcome is analyze performance of vapor compression refrigeration system. The next outcome is to explain working of vapor absorption system. Fourth, to evaluate cooling and heating loads in an air conditioning systems. CO5 will be analyze the air conditioning processes using principles of psychrometry. And the last outcome is to explain air distribution system. These outcomes are prepared according to the chapters. So there are 6 chapters, we have 6 outcomes. Course outline. The course is divided into 6 chapters, that is, first introduction to refrigeration and air conditioning, second vapor compression system, third compound vapor compression system, in that again it consists of vapor absorption system. Fourth chapter belongs to refrigerant for vapor compression system, also introduction to the air conditioning. Next chapter is about air conditioning process calculations, and the last chapter is distribution of air. In the first chapter, we need to focus on fundamental of refrigeration, applications and refrigeration systems. In the second chapter, that is vapor compression system, out of all the refrigeration system, the vapor compression system is the most important system from the viewpoint of commercial and domestic utility. It is the most practical form of refrigeration. We need to focus on thermodynamic analysis and problem solving, effect of various parameters on cycle performance, waste heat recovery opportunity. The next chapter is about compound vapor compression system and vapor absorption system. Systems with more than 2 pressures may arise to compound compression to minimize work. The focus is on multi-evaporator systems and cascade systems. Also, this chapter consists of vapor absorption system. This system is quite similar to the mechanical vapor compression system. We will see various absorption systems and in comparison with the vapor compression cycle. In the fourth chapter, that is refrigerant for vapor compression system and air conditioning. Refrigerants is any substance that absorbs heat through expansion or vaporization and it loses it through condensation in a refrigeration system. We need to focus on desirable properties, that is there are three desirable properties are there that four desirable properties are there: physical, thermodynamic, chemical and safe properties, and also the necessity of natural refrigerants. Also, air conditioning is included in this chapter, which comprises of psychrometry, psychrometric charts, comfort parameters, effective temperatures and comfort chart. In the fifth chapter, that is air conditioning process calculations, focus is on calculation of performance parameters in air conditioning system, bypass factor and evaporative cooling. Last chapter is about distribution of air, in that air should be distributed in the room so that the required temperature, humidity and air velocity are maintained in the occupied zone. We need to focus on duct design methods, duct size, friction chart and types of air conditioning system. Next slide is of grades. As per the university, this course is having weightage of 100 marks and it is distributed as end semester exam 60 marks, mid semester exam 20 marks, continuous assessment 20 marks. Text and reference books. For the subject refrigeration and air conditioning, a book should contain comprehensive treatment of the subject. Large number of solved problems properly graded. Following are the list of books recommended for this subject, refrigeration and air conditioning. Now the second section is about the fundamentals. Basic concepts must be clear to understand further lectures. We will start with the units and useful definitions and review of thermodynamics. Units. There are three primary units in use today: International System of Units, English Engineering System of Units, that is also called English Units, British Gravitational System of Units, that is BG. So ISO 1000 recommends the International System of Units. So we are following this. So here the table shows the units and its description: temperature, pressure, mass, length, time, volume, speed, velocity, mass flow rate, density, energy and power, and its description. Here are some examples of power or energy units. In the first example, that is 1.3 kilowatt air conditioner is there. 1.3 kilowatt air conditioner, that is 1 ton of refrigeration. If you are going to buy air conditioner in the market, you need to go with the ton of refrigeration. You need to buy for 1, 1.5, 2 ton, 3 ton air conditioner. Here we are consider 1.3 kilowatt as 1 ton of refrigeration. The next, you all know 40 watt incandescent bulb, 5 watt LED bulb is available, 100 watt solar panel, 220 megawatt gas power plant. So that is the examples of power or energy units. Power means a rate of doing work and energy is capacity to do work. Even here one example, that is a typical match yields about 1 BTU of energy if completely burned, 1 kilojoule. 1 BTU is nothing but 1 kilojoule. So some useful definitions are listed here. We'll go with one by one. First one is saturated vapor. Saturated vapor which has an element of its liquid form, means a vapor consisting of some liquid as it considered as an weight, so it is a saturated vapor. Second, sensible heat. It is the heat changes the temperature of a substance when added or removed heat without change of phase. Second is latent heat. Latent heat, it is the heat that does not affect the temperature remains constant, but the changes the state of a substance when added or extracted from it. So you need to consider that here change of phase is there in latent heat. Next is evaporating temperature. It is the temperature at which liquid turns into the vapor at a particular pressure. Similarly, condensing temperature is the temperature in which vapor turns into the liquid at a particular pressure. Boiling point is there, the temperature at which liquid turns into the vapor at atmospheric pressure. Enthalpy is a measurement of amount of energy. Generally, it is measured in joules or kilojoules contained in 1 kg of a substance. And the last definition is pressure enthalpy diagram, which is very much important. Pressure enthalpy diagram is drawn for individual refrigerant. For each and every refrigerant, there is a pressure enthalpy diagram. This diagram shows the amount of heat content in 1 unit of weight of a refrigerant in its saturated liquid state and also in its vapor state at different pressures. Now we are heading towards the review of thermodynamics. Energy of conservation. Energy conservation refers to efforts made to reduce energy consumption. Energy conservation can be achieved through increased efficient energy use in conjunction with decreased energy consumption and or reduced consumption from conventional energy source. Energy conservation can result in increased financial capital, environmental quality, national security, personal security and human comfort also. So energy of conservation states that energy can neither be created nor destroyed, it only transforms from one form to the another. Here are two examples are given which shows energy cannot be created or destroyed. Second law of thermodynamics. So second law of thermodynamics having two statements. First one, that is Clausius statement, and second one is about the Kelvin-Planck statement. Rudolf Clausius states that heat can never pass from a colder to a warmer body without some other change connected therewith occurring at the same time. It is well-known tendency of heat energy to flow from a hot body to a cold body, but it cannot flow by itself from a low temperature body to a high temperature body without addition of work. Refrigerators and heat pumps transfer energy from low temperature region to high temperature region at a cost of work input to their compressors. Second statement is given by the Lord Kelvin. It is impossible to construct an engine while operating in a cycle produces no other effect except to extract the heat from a single temperature reservoir and do equivalent amount of work. Similarly, it is written in the slide also. According to the Kelvin-Planck statement, a heat engine cannot be 100% efficient. In practice, no heat engine can convert all heat supplied to useful work. The engine receives heat from a high temperature reservoir and it must reject some amount of heat to a low temperature reservoir. The work done by a cyclic heat engine is the difference between heat supplied and heat rejection. So that is about the second law of thermodynamics. The application of second law of thermodynamics is nothing but our subject, that is refrigeration and air conditioning. Here the example is given. The hot coffee is kept at 70 degrees Celsius and the environment is 20 degrees Celsius. So heat is rejected from coffee to environment. So heat flows in the direction of decreasing temperature. We will see a short video on basic refrigeration and air conditioning.
You might have come across this diagram if you ever open a book on refrigeration. But this is not what we do around here. Not with this horrifying looking diagram at least. So two things, condensation and evaporation. That's all we need for refrigeration. Well, not really, but yeah. So in evaporation, heat is taken up for a phase change. What that means is when a liquid, in this case let's say water, turns into gaseous state, let's say water vapors, it takes away heat with it. Traditional water coolers are a perfect example for this. On the other hand, in condensation, heat is given out for a phase change. So a gas will give out heat to become liquid. In short, evaporation takes away heat and condensation gives out heat. Now all we have to do is combine them in such a way that heat is taken out from one region, that can be inside of a refrigerator or some cold storage unit, and this heat is given out to another region. In our case, it's the surroundings. Let's say we want to cool this box. We would want evaporation to take place inside this box so that it takes away its heat and the box cools down. But then we would want to release this heat somewhere. That's where the condensation comes in. We can do the condensation thingy outside this box, which would release all the heat in the surroundings. And voila, we have our refrigeration system. Not quite yet. We need a cycle that repeats itself. The most obvious one will be to connect them in such a way that stuff gets evaporated from the box, taking away heat, undergoes condensation outside to lose heat, and then funnels down again for evaporation, and then comes back up to absorb heat, and the cycle repeats. The fancy name for this stuff is the refrigerant or the coolant, because it's cool. Get it? This part which condenses stuff is called a condenser. What a surprise, right? And this is obviously called an evaporator. But it's not over yet. The temperature wouldn't be lower enough to cool, and there's no way to drive this cycle. We want as much heat as possible to be taken out of this box. Let's consider a completely different scenario. If you are fishing in a large pond with an exact number of fish, let's say 5, there is a small chance you're gonna catch one. But if you make this pond smaller with same number of fishes, chances are you'll end up catching a heck lot of them, because you decrease the space where they can run to. Same thing happens with our coolant here. It's a gas at this point. You'll want to compress it to scoop out as much heat as possible in one go. Of course, this analogy is wrong on many different levels, but you get the idea. So in between this evaporator and condenser, we place a compressor. Not only does it compresses the coolant, it also circulates the coolant in the system under pressure. We can do better. We know that expansion causes cooling, right? Think of it this way. The thermal properties of a substance largely comes from random motions of particles in it. So if you increase the volume, these particles have to travel a longer distance before bouncing back. So overall temperature decreases because the agitation of these molecules decreases and they have more space to run to. Anyway, so how can we use this process to cool stuff? We can place an expansion valve in between the condenser and evaporator. Now our coolant is really spread and cooled out when it reaches the evaporator. It absorbs heat there, then it goes to the compressor, then condenser, where it loses heat and the cycle repeats. And this is what a refrigeration cycle is. This is known as a simple refrigeration cycle. Most of the stuff, your fridge, air conditioners, work on this basic cycle. Go check out the community tab on my channel and vote for the next video.
Here we will conclude with our session. In the next lecture, we will continue with Introduction to Refrigeration and Air Conditioning. Thank you.